Hello, and thank you for joining us today in our study of the book of Psalms. Today we are in Psalm 15. This is yet again another of these rather short psalms. It's only 5 verses in length. It is written by David, and it asks the question, who is it that is going to abide with the Lord, or specifically abide in the Lord's tabernacle? So, if we were putting it in our terminology today, the question is, who's going to be in heaven? And so, what is it that is going to be the template of those who are considered obedient by God? It's not a long chapter, but there's a lot of meat here. So let's delve in to Psalm 15. Beginning in verse 1, we read, Lord, who may abide in your tabernacle? Who may dwell in your holy hill? He who walks uprightly and works righteousness, and speaks the truth in his heart. He who does not backbite with his tongue, nor does evil to his neighbor, nor does he take up a reproach against his friend, in whose eyes a vile person is despised, but he honors those who fear the Lord. He who swears to his own hurt and does not change. He who does not put out his money at usury, nor does he take a bribe against the innocent. He who does these things shall never be moved. I want you to think about what he's saying here in Psalm 15, because he begins with this question. And this question is simply going to be, may abide? Who is it that might be among those who are going to reside with God? And then he's going to give this list of 10 different things. And on the surface, this seems rather simplistic. This seems to be something that is rather easy, that anybody can do, and that is just going to be for everybody. And you know what? It is. And yet at the same time, as you delve a little bit deeper into that list, you start seeing these items that oftentimes don't match up with the way people want to be able to live their lives and be acceptable to God. For instance, you start going through this list and it talks about he who walks uprightly. Now, it's not talking about whether or not you're stoop-shouldered or whether or not you slouch or not, but rather it's the content of character. He is one who does righteousness. Well, righteousness means I make the right choices. I do the right things. When it comes to what I have to do in life, I have to do what's right. If I'm doing what is wrong, I'm not walking righteously. I'm not working righteousness. He that speaks truth in his heart. That means I cannot be one given to lying. I cannot be one who lies to others, but also it talks about speaks truth in his heart. That means I have to believe the truth myself. I have to not lie to myself either. The one who doesn't backbite with his tongue or do evil to his neighbor. I've got to be willing to not be selfish, and I have to be kind and considerate, and I have to be one who looks out for others, even above myself. As a matter of fact, that's discussed again later on when it talks about the one who swears to his own hurt and doesn't change. In other words, if I make an agreement or I make a promise and it turns out it's not going to work out well for me, I don't change the terms of the deal just because I'm not going to benefit. He doesn't take up a reproach against his friend. He does not put out his money to usury. He's not trying to make money off of his own generosity. He doesn't take a bribe against the innocent. He has integrity. He is honorable. That individual is upright in the way that they conduct themselves. But the final thing in this section that is at the core of everything is he is one David says, in whose eyes a vile person is despised, but he honors those who fear the Lord. Who is it that is going to reside with God? Who is it that is going to be acceptable before God? It's the person who does what is right. It's the person who has strong, upstanding character. It's the person who despises wickedness and honors those that fear the Lord. These seem like simple statements and simple concepts, and to some degree they are. And yet when you really stop and think about the details of what this means, it's a very difficult thing to find in our world today. But then he talks about this statement in verse 5 at the end of the psalm. He says, "He who does these things shall never be moved." You know, there's a similar statement over in 2 Peter chapter 1 in verses 5 through 8, where you read there concerning what we commonly call the Christian graces, the need to add to your faith virtue, knowledge, temperance, patience, godliness, brotherly kindness, and love. And yet in the aftermath of that statement, Peter says that the one who adds these things and develops them and walks in them will never fall. It's the same type of thing that's being discussed here. The person who lives this life and does these things shall never be moved. They're never going to move away from this relationship with God. You know why? Because they're devoted to working righteously. They're devoted to honoring God. They're devoted to despising that which is wicked, and they are cemented in this relationship of doing good for others and treating others with kindness and integrity. The individual that models their life and cements themselves in this kind of attitude is never going to move away from God, because it is fundamentally to the core who they are. And those are the people that are going to dwell in the house of the Lord forever. When you look at Psalm 15, Psalm 15 lays out before us the pattern of what God's looking for in the people that serve Him. It's not a quick one day I'm here and the next day I'm gone type of mentality. It's not a circumstance where we do one or two good things and offset all of the bad things that we've done, and then all of a sudden everything's good. No, God is looking for individuals who are devoted to Him with everything that they have, to the point that they will be fully obedient to Him in every aspect of life. It doesn't mean they're not going to make mistakes. It doesn't mean they're not going to stumble and fall and fall short of what they should be, and that they're not going to sin from time to time. But the blood of Christ was given to overcome those things. And the core responsibility is, when we make a mistake, when we commit a sin, we don't ignore it, pretend it didn't happen, blame it on others, or in other ways strive to push everything off onto someone else. But we deal with it, we repent of it, and we move forward from there, striving to make it right. These are some of the things that I found in Psalm 15, and I know that there is a lot more that we could say and a lot more meat we could delve into with these 10 things that David lays out. But I hope maybe these things have given you a start in meditating on and on considering the things found in this chapter. Next time, we'll come back and we will begin looking at Psalm 16. I hope that you'll join us then. But until then, have a great day.